Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we are starting a new lesson which is data structures. So in the coming session we are going to learn more about that. Okay, so data structure is a very important topic from the point of view of your examination, as well as if you want to write a very efficient program which is memory efficient, then you have to know the data structures very well. Okay, so the objectives of this particular lesson is to understand the concept of data structure, to understand the types of data structures, and also we are going to learn the various operations which we are going to perform on various data structures. And finally, we are going to learn how are we going to implement those actions. Okay. So if you're before getting on to the data structure, if you are talking about data, what is a data, students? Our data is nothing but the informations we see around us. It can be anything. We see there are a lot of trees, there are so many houses around us, there are so many students in our class, there are so many teachers in a university. Whatever the details you see around you is all data. Okay, but these are all random data. So when we collect these data and put them in a proper format or process them, then it becomes information. Okay. So for example, if you're considering your college admission, you go for an admission, what all the details you give, isn't it? You give your name, you give your address, mobile number, Aadhaar card number, so many details you give. If you actually see them randomly, they doesn't make any sense. But when you say that you're giving all this information for a college application, you're giving this detail to a college, then it makes sense, isn't it? Similarly, data can be anything. Data is nothing but raw fact is what we call. When we collect them, gather them, and arrange them in a proper way, then in a structured way, in a proper way or in a structured way, then it becomes a meaningful information. Now we know that in a computer science, for a computer to be efficient or for make the best use of a computer, we have to store some data, isn't it? We do that. We store so many things in our computer. So how do we store these informations? Now, here where our data structure comes in picture. Okay, data structure is a topic where we are going to learn how do we store the data, required data, whatever may be, in our computer's memory. How do we make the best utilization of the computer memory, right? So our data structure is a specialized format of organizing and storing data. Okay, so data is a collection of raw facts that are processed by computers. Like I said, data can be anything, but when we store them in a computer in a proper structured way and we process them, then it becomes a meaningful information. Okay, so in order to process the data should be organized in a particular way. This leads to structuring of data, isn't it? Now suppose, for example, there is a student whose marks, there are students marks given, and now if it is 20, 30, 40, something like that, there are three subjects marks. Now, if I'm just saying 20, 30, 40, this can be anything, isn't it? If I'm writing it continuously, this can be a PIN code number, it can be a employee number, it can be anything. But whenever I store it saying student marks, only then we will have a meaningful information. If I'm just storing it 20, 30, 40 in an Excel, and if I'm just saving it and closing it, next time when I open it, there is no meaning to that data. It is a data, isn't it? This is the data, but does it have any meaning? It doesn't have any meaning, right? So in order to process the data should be organized in a particular way. We need to organize it where what should be in address. I should save my address. In the marks, I should be saving the marks only, isn't it? This leads to structuring of data, so it has to be in a proper structured way. Okay, data structures are efficient way to organize data, so we are using data structure in order to organize these data, right? Now these data can be of many types. Okay, a data can be single valued or multi-valued. What do you mean by the single valued or multi-valued? For example, your phone number, it is of what? It will be of 10 digit, isn't it? So I can say this is a single valued. If I'm considering your name, a name can be, there can be three things, isn't it? What is that? First name, and then middle name, and then last name. Similarly, an address. An address can have so many things, isn't it? What it can have street number, and then area, and then state, pin code, etc. There are so many details in this, isn't it? So these are all multi-valued. When it comes to this, it is single valued. Salary, single value, isn't it? Register number, single value. But at the same time, we can have single multi-valued also. So data can be a single valued or it can be multi-valued. Now, data representation. What do we understand by data representation? Now, we have received some data. We need to store it in the computer. Now, how do we represent that in the computer? Computer's memory is used to store data which is required for processing, right? Whatever the data we are required to do certain processing. Suppose I have to calculate the total of a student's mark and I have to find the percentage of that particular student. Then I'll be storing that student's detail in the computer memory, isn't it? Because I need to process that data. This process is known as data representation. Now, how I am representing this data or storing these data is nothing but data representation. Okay. Now, the study of the data structure mainly deals with, so when we are learning about data structure, what does it deals with? The logical and mathematical description of the structure. So if at all we are representing or using a data structure, how does the logic of that and the mathematical use of that is? So that description is what we are going to learn. And implementation of a structure on a computer. So how are we going to implement it on a computer? So mainly in this lesson, we are going to learn these two, okay? And also the study of data structure includes analysis of the structure, which include determining amount of space in the memory and optimization of time taken for processing. This is very important, okay? So if at all we are using a particular data structure, what is the amount of space in the memory it is taking and also the time it is taking in order to processing. When we know these two, we know that how efficiently we can use the time and memory of a computer, isn't it? So depending upon this, we are going to choose the data structure or we are going to choose which data structure we are going to use in a computer. But in this particular lesson, we'll be dealing with only these two, right? So classification of data structure. So we know about data structure now. So what are we going to learn and everything? So now let us see how our data structures are classified. Now mainly the data structures are divided into primitive data structures and non-primitive data structures. Now these primitive data structures are nothing but basic type of data structure or something on which the machine level language directly operates upon. Now by machine level language is nothing but our programs, okay? Now we know that integer, float, character, pointers, etc. we use in our program, isn't it? These are called as primitive data structures, okay? So similarly, non-primitive data structure, by the name itself we can understand they are not non-primitive, as in they are not primitive, they are little complicated compared to the primitive ones, okay? They include arrays, lists and files. Now in the lists, under lists we have further, it has been divided as linear lists and non-linear lists, okay? So in linear list, linear as in sequential, we all know we have linked list, stacks and queues, wherein which non-linear we have graphs and trees, okay? So similarly in arrays, the arrays has been divided into one-dimensional array, two-dimensional array and multi-dimensional array. We are going to see all of them. We are going to learn the different algorithms to operate on them and all those things we are going to learn in detail in the coming sessions, okay? So as of now, you need to remember this picture and also you need to remember what all comes under which type of a data structure, right? So the very first one which we saw is primitive data structure. Like I said, they are the basic ones, isn't it? So data structure that are directly operated upon by the machine level instructions are known as primitive data structure. Now in C or C++, you would have learned integer, float, logical data. You know that logical data is nothing but Boolean values, isn't it? 0 and 1s, character data, pointer, etc. These are all pointer type of data structure. There is nothing much to know about them. Okay, these are the basic ones. which we have already used in programming, isn't it? Now, what are the operations that we can perform on them? So the operations which can be performed on a primitive data structures are, the very first one is create. Create operation is used to create a new data structure. So for example, you would have seen we declare something like int x, isn't it? So this is nothing but a create operation. Okay, so here we are creating a data type of type integer. So what happens, in the memory there is a memory which gets allocated for x, isn't it? So this is nothing but we are creating a primitive data type, isn't it? So this is nothing but a primitive data structure creation process. Now, destroy. Destroy operation is used to destroy or remove the data structure from the memory space. So usually what happens is when we are done running a program, when we come out of the program, automatically they get released. And also in C++, we have programs or we have functions like new and delete. So this delete function is used to free the memory allocated using the new operator. So which we are going to learn in the coming sessions. Okay, when we are learning C++, we are going to see this new and delete functions. But as of now, you remember destroy is nothing but whenever we create a memory location or whenever we create a data type, whenever we release this space to the memory, that is when it is called as a destroy operation. Okay. Next is select. What is a select? Select operation is used by the programmer to access the data within the data structure. Suppose I have int x. I am going to say int x and then I'm going to say x is equal to 2. So what I'm doing, I'm selecting this particular operator and I'm using it, isn't it? This is nothing but selection operation. So this operation updates or alters data. Okay. Now even update operation is used to change the data or data structure. The assignment operator is a good example to update. So here also we can say whenever I say x is equal to 2 plus 1 or something like that, I'm changing the value here, changing value of this particular variable. So if the memory allocation was this, with this I have said that x value is 2, but when I'm doing the updation operation, I'm removing this 2 and I'm adding the value 3, isn't it? So here I am updating it. So this is nothing about update operation. So in the primitive data structure, the operations which we are going to learn are create, destroy, select and update, right? So next we are going to learn about non-primitive data structure. Now what is this non-primitive? A non-primitive data structures are more complex data structure compared to primitive data structures. Okay. These data structures are derived from primitive data structure. So they are being derived from them. They stress on formation of groups of homogeneous and heterogeneous data elements. So they stress on the formation of groups. They are used as a group. Now, when we say homogeneous, this is nothing but similar. Okay, homogeneous is similar type of data. And when I say heterogeneous is different types of data element. Right. So we can form a group of data. It can be heterogeneous or it can be homogeneous. Now this we can do it in non-primitive data structures. Okay. Now non-primitive data structures are classified as arrays, lists and files. This we already saw in the image, isn't it? Now data structures under lists are classified as linear and non-linear data structure. So under the list, we are further dividing them as linear and non-linear, right? So what is a linear data structure then? Now, a linear data structures are kind of data structure that has homogeneous element. When I say homogeneous, nothing but similar data type. We are here grouping the different data, but all these data should have a similar type of data type. It cannot be different. So this is our linear data structure. Here, each element is referred by an index. Now, why do we need an index? Now, we already know that this is a non-primitive data structure where we are going to group the different type of data. So, of course, we are going to have more than one data, isn't it? So, if I'm grouping something like this, then I have to access this, I have to access this, I have to access this. So, of course, for that, we are going to refer them with something called as an index. I1, I2, I3, isn't it? So this is nothing but my index so that I know which element I am referring. The linear data structures are stack, queues, and linked list. Okay, so we are going to learn about them, each one of them in detail. But as of now, you know that linear data structures are stacks, queues, and linked list. Now, the data elements of linear data structure will have a linear relationship between the data element. Now, whatever it may be, whether it is a stack or queue and linked list, they are going to have a linear type of a relationship between those data stored in them. Okay, so this is about linear data structure. Now, next, let's learn what is a non-linear data structure. A non-linear data structure is a data structure in which data item is connected to several other data items. This is not like a linear. Here one is not, it is not connected to one another, but here they are connected to several data items at one time. Okay. Now the data items has possibility to reach one or more data items. So it need not be one reaching another. It can be one reaching many. Okay. Now, for example, you would have seen something called as a tree, or you would have seen a graph, isn't it? Now, here what is happening? When I say linked list or something like that, there is a connection between them. Even if you're considering an array, it is like one after the other. But here, one element data item is connected to how many? We have one, two, three. Similarly, here one point is connected to 1, 2, 3, isn't it? So one data item can be connected to one or more. It can be more also, right? So this is the speciality of non-linear data structure. The data item has a possibility to reach one or more data items. Like I said, here it is reaching how many? 1, 2, and through this it is reaching 3, isn't it? Now, the data items are not arranged in a sequential structure. It is not one after the other. It can be in any order. For example, see here, it is not one after the other. There is no proper structure here. Trees and graphs are the examples of non-linear data structures. Tree is nothing but this. Okay. Again, we are going to learn little detail about this. And then this is nothing but our graph. Graph can be anything. Okay. It need not be a square or something like this, where we have edges and points, isn't it? So we can be reaching something like this. So this is how a graph look like. So this is about non-linear data structure. Now, what about the operations which we can perform on a linear data structure? Linear, remember, linear is nothing but which is of same data type, and they have a relation of linear relationship between their data items. Okay. So the very first operation which we are going to perform on them is traversal. Now, what is this traversal? The process of accessing each data item exactly once to perform some operation is called as traversing. So what we are going to do, we are going to visit each and every data item. When we do that, that is called as traversal. Traversal is something similar to traveling to each data item of that particular data structure. Okay. Next is insertion. Like the name says, the process of adding a new data item into the given collection of data item is called as insertion. So we can perform this also. Next one is a deletion. Of course, if you want to delete some data item, then it is called as a deletion. After that, we have searching. So if at all you want to search particular data item in that particular data structure, then we can perform this operation, searching operation. Okay. Then we have sorting. What is the sorting? Sorting is nothing but arranging them either in ascending or descending order is called as sorting. So we are going to take this data structure and we are going to arrange them in either descending or ascending order. We can do that operation in this linear data structure. Next one is merging. What is merging? The process of combining the data items of two structure to form a single structure is called as merging. Here, the structure has to be of same type. So if you're using a stack, it has to be stack. If you're using queue, it has to be queue. Okay. So we can merge those two using operation merging. So this is nothing but merging operation. So this is all about today, students. So we have, what did we learn today? We have learned what is a data, what is a data structure, what are the classification. This is very important. And what all comes under primitive data structure, what are things comes under the non-primitive data structure. Under list, we have linear list, we have non-linear list, and we have seen what are the operations we can perform under linear list. Okay. In the coming session, we are going to learn about arrays. What are the types of arrays and how are they represented in the memory, and what are the operations which are performed on arrays. Okay. So thank you for watching. Take care.